Hello, everybody out there listening. Today I am joined by Andrew Gardella,
Hello, everyone.
another amazing access consciousness facilitator, a 3-day body class facilitator, a magical wizard of bodies, an energetic synthesis of structural integrity wizard, body whispering, amazing person all around. And today we're going to be talking about what was the topic we chose?
Finding out what's true for your body, or
What?
knowing what's true for your body.
Knowing what's true for your body. So what is knowing what's true for your body?
It's willing to ask your body what's true for it.
Would you care to elaborate?
That's where to go. So your body has its own point of view. It knows what it requires and what it desires, and what's true for it. But we don't really ever ask it. So,
Right. Until you come to an access class and we're like, well, what does your body say? Ask your body. And then for the first time ever, we start actually being open to that the body actually has its own consciousness and intelligence that is not necessarily dictated by the logic of the mind.
yes, and I think that's a great differentiation. That the body's intelligence, its awareness, its consciousness isn't dictated by the logic of the mind.
And it's like how many resources in the world do we have that are accessing the intelligence, the consciousness, the knowing of the body versus the idea of what should work for your body and the point of view of why your body's not working, i.e. diets, medicine. And so this is a really different conversation about like, what does your body know?
Mm-hmm.
And if your head couldn't understand it, if the mind wasn't right about the body, what would you have to trust about your body?
Yes, and I think it's great that you brought up intelligence of the body too, because from my background, as a chiropractor and everything, that's really one of the things that drew me to chiropractic school, was because from its founding, they would always talk about that the body had this natural intelligence, or it had an intelligence, which is really an awareness of itself and what it requires, and it knows things.
And so then let me pose the question. So how do we get to the place where we're actually knowing what our body knows, working with what our body knows, and not overriding that all the time?
Yes, the how question. That's always like, okay, well, we have it. For me, like where I start with it is, okay, just the acknowledgement. Okay, my body has this amazing consciousness, this amazing ability to contribute, and it knows things. And it knows things that, like, I don't necessarily know, or that aren't logical. It's an energetic awareness of itself and of its world, and like of the world. So
Yeah, and I have to admit, like, I'm still learning that incredible ability in ways I never could have imagined or predicted. I just facilitated a 3-day body class in Stockholm, Sweden, and this particular class was quite exhausting for my body, and I've learned over the years of facilitating body classes that my body contributes a lot to the other bodies. And to the earth. And I was particularly exhausted with this class, which usually means it was a lot of people's universes changed and a lot of possibilities got created. But I had a day off yesterday, and I was like, my body was like cranky and it just didn't feel like me. And and then I had my bars run today. And those of you guys that are listening to this that don't know what we mean by body class or bars, the access bars, have a look at the rest of the podcast. There's tons of conversations. There's one I did with Lisa Hendrickson about the access bars, and there's been so many other conversations about the access bodywork, hands-on body processes. I hope you get to explore all that content here. So anyways, I had my bars run today, and I'd really zonked out, but in the middle of it, I sort of woke up and I had this really strange taste in my mouth that I'm not used to, and this very clear awareness that I had pulled, my body had pulled this huge amount of like what I could only kind of get was like pharmaceuticals or antidepressants out of one of the
Mm-hmm.
other participants' bodies, and and as soon as I realized what was going on in what my body was releasing, I also could indicate which participant it was in the class. And I could have never logicked that awareness. Thinking about the person, looking at the person, I never would have thought that they had been on a lot of, like I never could, my mind would have never understood that they were on a lot of pharmaceuticals or that their body was storing a lot of that
Mm-hmm.
substance. And just by being around their body in the context of the body class, my body facilitated basically in essence with drew out a bunch of that from their system. And it was in the next then I had to get a body process, i.e. the bars, to facilitate the completion of that transformation. Who teaches you this stuff about how this about how bodies work?
Well, and Shannon, the thing I realized with facilitating that, because I like with doing the SE class, doing the body classes, and just like sessions with people too, I would get like that, and what I started realizing and really having to look at and acknowledge was not only the change I was creating for the bodies now, but also the future possibilities and future realities that were opening up based on, from that creation point.
That's can I just dig into that one for a sec there? Because
Yes.
that I like I was having I'm gonna last week I was having I was so like stressed out and kind of like worn out in my body, but I couldn't figure out why because I had tons of downtime. I was like the weather was amazing. I wasn't really working that hard that I thought am I overloaded with my workload? I couldn't figure out what anyways, I turned on my computer to listen to a class and I just looked down my list and what pinged for me to listen to was a 2-year-old advanced body class with Gary. So I popped it on and I went into the kitchen and started cooking. And he started talking about art, like how much is your body contributing to creation of the future? And I was like, OMG, I totally forgot about that. Totally
Yeah.
forgot about that. And as soon as I acknowledged my body, as soon as I acknowledged what was going on, which was that myself and my body were contributing to substantiating the future that I've been asking for and working towards for so many years, which is a more conscious world. My back stopped hurting, my shoulders relaxed, I had way more peace, and it again, like who teaches you that your body contributes to the future other than procreating to create the future of our species in the form of children?
Yes.
We know that body contribution, but do we know the body contribution of literally instituting the future through energetics?
Well, I like that. Instituting the future through energetics. That's a good.
Because most of us, we live, I mean, I think I look at this so often about how I often look at how people tend to get more fixed, more set, and sort of more stuck the older they get, both psychologically and physiologically. And I've often, but I've sort of gone the opposite way psychologically in that every year I go on planet Earth, I like I'm like more free. I'm like more me and
Mm-hmm.
more free. Like I'm growing into more myself rather than less myself. Um, However, my body is, I'm 39 this year, or I'll be 40 this year, and it's this weird trip of watching my body go through its changes. And what if the body could generate it? Like, what does the body know about generation rather than degeneration? How do we
Mm-hmm.
generate ourselves? How do the bodies generate themselves rather than deteriorate themselves?
Mm-hmm. I think that's an interesting because I've been like, well, I mean, with bodies, it's like everything I look at, or everything I'm just, it's just kind of what I like what's easy and what I enjoy. And the generation thing is interesting because I was looking at the other day, I'm like, when you're a kid or something, the bodies just have an ability to create and generate themselves.
Mm.
That's just like, what do the kids do? Like, really, like they don't go work out. They're not really, uh, eating all the correct points of views and realities. Kids don't follow that.
Mm.
They don't and their body is still, for a large majority of them, their body still is their body. They don't have this weird clunkiness, I would say, that I sense energetically, or they don't have, they have a greater presence or something with a greater presence, and I'm just going to say a greater presence, and the body has a greater presence in a way. But then as we age, all of a sudden that disconnection gets created, and
so I wonder, and I really wonder, I think I'm going to / question / answer / conclude / mix it all up, is that knowing what what are we calling this podcast?
Knowing what's true for your body.
Knowing what's true for your body. Wow. If I could, apparently I need to know what's true. Knowing what's true for your body, it's like, and I wonder if not having the body's awareness, ability, its requirements, I'm wondering if not having that acknowledged from day one of the body's life, if that is a contributing factor to the erosion of presence or like the energy that's available in a body. Because I know that I wasn't really raised to know what was true for my body. I was raised, there was a lot of body judgments in my household. My mom used to sort of like stand in front of the mirror and judge her body a lot. It wasn't really about like what her body knew. It wasn't what's right about this I'm not getting. It was, what's right about my body I'm not getting. Like, body, what do you know? What are you aware of? It was, oh, how gross, how disgusting, how awful. And I know that that's a really prevalent point of view in the world, definitely for female bodies, but I know that men are absolutely susceptible to the same sort of stuff. And it's sort of like, I wonder if the not acknowledging what the body knows from day one is what starts those energetic, I guess, like disconnection that we then can suffer from so much later on in the body's life.
Yes, I'm going to say yes. And there's such a vital component too with this, like knowing what the body knows, of its actual connection with the earth, and that the body is of the earth. It's not something that's separate. That your body actually has an awareness of itself, and the awareness of itself isn't separate from the earth and what's going on. If we're talking about future. Because it's so interesting where animals' bodies have an awareness of the coming future, and they know, rabbits know if it's going to be a drought not to procreate, or other animals know that too. And I've always looked at, okay, so if these bodies know this, well, and I just asked my body, I'm like, body, do you know this? And it's like, yes. I'm like, okay, so if you know this, then what else is really required for the acknowledgement of that, and to have that energetic awareness and not override it.
Can you give an example of an actual event, not like the drought and the rabbits, but what your body knew about the future? Or
Jeez. It's so interesting to me at this point too, because I'm never quite part of it's like me and my body together on a lot of stuff. So, let's talk about this awareness. So one of the things that I think it's a year and a half ago now, but I haven't ever had, my body's never had any dental kind of issues. Like, I don't have any cavity still. I had braces, but that was it. No, nothing. But a year and a half ago, I started getting this really bad taste in my mouth. And I wasn't sure if it was an energetic thing, or if it was so I started going through the things of, okay, well, I'm going to, first thing is, first tool for you, if you're just listening and you're new to the access stuff and bodies, is one of the first tools we give people is, who does this belong to? Is this mine, or is this someone else's? And then you go with whichever one has the sense of lightness, or where a possibility opens up. So naturally, I asked, who does this belong to? Is this mine or someone else's? Or the third option is something else's, which is usually the earth. And I kept getting someone else's. And I'm like, okay, someone else's. So it's not mine. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge that. And there's, I don't know how far we go into the access tools on the show, but I was using the clearing statement and stuff, and it just wasn't really going anywhere. Like I wasn't getting any energetic movement. I wasn't getting any, like nothing. It just kind of would like move a foot away from me energetically in a sense. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just didn't know what to, I was like, okay. And I would keep working with it. And then I started changing toothpaste and like mouthwash or,
logical stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I was doing the energetic, but I wasn't getting anywhere. And I was like, okay. And I kept like asking who does this belong to? And I would ask, can I change it? And I was getting a no. And I was just like, I was grappling with this. And I think it was September or October, maybe, that I was doing with it. And I would just keep working with it. But like I said, I wasn't getting anywhere. I just kept hitting this wall. And so I was like, okay, finally, I was like, okay, body, I get this isn't mine, but it's still heavy. So if it's heavy and it's not mine, which I get is, there, but it's not going anywhere. So I must have some point of view here, right? Which is totally a question. And then I was like, okay, body, what additional information do we need? Like, what's going on here? Like, I really I'm kind of like, I've tried to logic this. I've tried to kind of step myself out of my logic too, but I'm not like, I don't really, you know what I mean? Like you were talking about with the drugs. I know something's going on and I know you're giving me information, but I really don't know beyond that. And then I went home for Christmas that year and we're sitting down at family, like a family dinner. And my mom starts talking about how in this coming year, she needs to have like 3 different kind of, dental surgeries, like a crown put in, a cavity fixed, and something else. And I went, oh, like the moment she said it, it's just like my mouth started lightening up because I'm like, oh my gosh, buddy, you were giving me information about like the future my mom's body was creating and what was going on. And it's like, yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, but it's like the pieces started falling into place of like, cause all of a sudden I had some bit of context that like, I got the entire picture of what my body was showing me. Cause I was like, oh my gosh, buddy. So you were saying we couldn't change this, that we couldn't change it wasn't mine either. It was my mom's, cause she's not being able to change it. Like she's having to go for the surgery to create the change.
Did the taste in your mouth change after that?
Oh my God, yes.
Huh. So that's learning what your body knows.
Yes. In a rather, funny fashion, because it was like 3 or 4 months of me doing it, where I'm just like, oh.
But that's the thing about question and consciousness. It's like you have to ask, and I love that question of what additional information do I need? Because so many times it can get to the point where it's like we can conclude that we don't know, or we can give up because it's not, we're not getting the change that we're after in the timeline in which we've decided we need it. But that question of what additional information do I require, like actually you're reminding me to use that. And something that I love that Gary really indicates about using questions as a source for accessing greater consciousness and awareness is like, you can ask the question, but sometimes the universe has to like reorganize a bunch of stuff in order to deliver the awareness or information to you. So that could take 3 months till you get to Christmas, and you're sitting down at family Christmas dinner. And it's like, is that time that it took to get to that awareness worth now what you were able to substantiate and learn about what your body knows and how what your body's actually capable of?
Oh yeah, totally. Because the stuff I got from that, because now I'm like, okay, like I knew with like my mom, because I was having all this awareness, but I didn't have the context or the information to kind of put the puzzle together in a way.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, oh, I can't change this. Okay. So I get that that's an energy there. And for me at this point, at least, when my body gives me information, I know it's giving me information. I might not have the awareness or the context or the, see how it fits in, but I always acknowledge, I'm like, okay, body, Like, you know something, you're not giving me like gibberish. Like, I just don't get it. So
I kind of wanted to right, and how many of you guys listening to this can relate to not understanding the signals and the signs, the indication that the body's giving, whether it's a taste in the mouth, an ache in the back, cancer, weight gain, etc., etc. And so what Andrew and I are positing is that the body knows something, and that its sensations, its indications are its way of communicating to you, like Andrew's mother's dental work, like me and the woman in my body class that had been on a lifetime of pharmaceuticals. It's like, and I think it's interesting that both of us are bringing up stories about our body's awareness of somebody else's body.
mhm.
Which, in truth be told, like if we went farther down this rabbit hole and conversation about the body, I almost wonder if every single story of body awareness that, I mean, I'll speak for myself, is actually my body's awareness of somebody else's reality and choice with their body.
Yeah, I think I'm right there. One of the things I realized is like the like what my body knows and what its awareness of itself is. There's never an intensity that sticks me because it's true. You can't get stuck with what's true. You only get stuck with the
Can
lies.
you rewind and say that again?
So I realized that with my body, like its awareness, its knowing, and what's true for it's true. So there's nothing I get stuck with. There's nothing that kind of sits in my world because it's true. It just has a lightness. It just is what it is. But when we go to like, the reason those things get stuck, like other people's body awareness gets stuck in our world so much and kind of like sits there or like eats at you is because it's a lie. And I mean, we have some lie or some awareness of the lie. Um,
So, how many lies have you guys bought about your bodies? And shall we destroy and uncreate all that?
it's right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And how many of other people's lies about their body have you bought and embodied? And shall we destroy and uncreate all of that as well?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds.
It's such a trip. Before we started recording, Andrew and I were chatting about what we wanted to talk about today, and I was reflecting on that I actually have quite a few podcast episodes that are conversations about bodies. I've done the space of embodiment, quite a few actually, and I realize that it's a topic that I tend to lean towards. And I would say I haven't actually had a particularly like easy relationship with my body. I mean, that being said, I think comparatively, I've had an incredible relationship with my body. But for me, there's been a lot of, stomach ache a lot of my life, like literally stomach ache, and a lot of judgment, and then like heaviness. And so I always judged that I must not be right about my body. I'm wrong in some way. I'm not eating the right food. I'm not doing the right exercise, which of course has nothing to do with knowing what my body is. And I think these conversations that we have based on like awareness, I guess I'd call them body awareness conversations, are so far from what you hear in the majority of the world about like the right diet for you or the right exercise for you or the right medication that's going to, deal with the problem with the body.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because we're not talking about the body having a problem, I mean, I think a lot of times I'm facilitating and talking about misunderstanding and some information, communication, and ability that the body is and has.
Yes, and I think I'm right there. One of the things that I always talk about that at least seem to work well in the classes, I don't know actually. I'd like to think it looks like people get it, but I'm not quite sure. You know what I mean? I think it's cool.
Okay, let's try. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I get it.
Is anytime you're going to looking at fixing something, like fixing the body, or you already have a fixed point of view. And so if you're looking at getting a medication that fixes the body or a diet that fixes the body, then you've already come to a fixed point of view, and you're just looking at changing to a different fixed point of view. You're like, okay, I have this fixed point of view about my body,
Hmm.
and I need to change it by doing this better fixed point of view.
Yeah. That's what we should call the body classes. We should call it better fixed point of view for you.
Yes, exactly. Fixing your body right.
Yeah, fixing your wrong body rightly.
Yes. Um, and the thing with all of access is that we know when you have a fixed point of view, that's it. Like, it's fixed. You can't change it. And the way you change the fixed points of view is by actually getting rid of them, not going to a better version of that fixed point of view or a different fixed point of view.
Cool. So how many fixed points of view do you guys have about your bodies? And shall we destroy and uncreate them all?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And how many fixed points of view, and how many of other people's fixed points of view about their bodies is your body aware of? And everything that doesn't allow you to acknowledge your body's awareness, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So what we're doing, just in case you're listening to this and you have like literally just stumbled onto this somehow with never hearing about access before, which what would it take? We're doing the access clearing statement, and in the show notes, so on the webpage that you're listening to this, and if you're listening to this on iTunes, just go to the Shannon O'Hara website and click on the podcast, and you can find this stuff. And in the show notes, there will be a link to learn more about the access clearing statement, this particular tool we're using, which is sort of like the magic delete button for all stuck fixed energies, basically, is a really simple way of putting it. Yeah, just in case you were wondering what that weird foreign language Andrew was speaking was.
Yes. I see, look at that. I thought I didn't speak a foreign language, but I do.
You speak access foreign language.
Yes. Oh. You know what's been interesting with these clearings too, Shannon, is that it's never the first round, like the fixed points of views or whatever we were doing, the lies. It was never the lies or the fixed points of views you have with your buddy, but it's actually the other people's fixed points of views and lies that had so much more charge. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that it goes back to what we were talking about of, like I'm just wondering how much of everything that's going on with our bodies actually isn't actually going on in the first place. It's just the body giving you awareness. And
that's been something that's been so liberating for my body. And also frustrating because there's some really deep awarenesses. Like I've had, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, like a lot of my body's life, I've had like stomach ache stuff, like not like I'm sick, but like a lot of density in my guts. And I think people listening to this can probably relate. And I've asked, who does this belong to? What's right about this? I'm not getting, actually, as I'm talking about it now, it's totally, never mind. I was going to make it into something that it isn't. And it's, it's so, okay, confession time. It's so totally like this like repression of joy that I've chosen to repress. And I think my body's also picking up on other people. No, I know my body's also picking up on other people suppressing the joy of their own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So everywhere that you guys have repressed and suppressed the joy, the excitement, the energies, the yumminess that the body has available to it, will you guys destroy and uncreate all judgments used to repress and suppress body energy?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And whose lack of joyful embodiment are you living? And shall we destroy it and create all that?
Yes, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Thank you,
my
Andrew.
Gosh.
I'm glad.
You're welcome.
I'm glad we had this conversation because usually I go into my story of like, oh, my body, my stomach, blah, 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 blah. And as I was saying it, I couldn't lie. It was like my body's like, but I'm happy, and I was like, oh yeah.
Well, but that's so good because that's really this is the disparity that I see occur in the body classes when we're having conversations about bodies. A lot of times there's the body's point of view, and then there's your story that you have attached to it. that has nothing actually to do with the body's point of view. And you're just like, what was great is you're like, but wait, my body's happy. Okay, so all this stuff I'm trying to go into and all this past and everything, it's not actually relevant, or it's not even
It's totally,
true.
it's totally, exactly. It's the lie. It's the lie I tell myself. I am a very convenient liar.
I mean, I also find it funny because you talk about your stomach thing, and I've worked on, other family members of yours that have stomach things. So I'm just like, huh, interesting.
Stomach pain is very popular in my family. Picking up on this particular frequency of the repression of the joy of the body. Yeah, so it's like, what is all of you guys out there listening right now, it's like, what vibrational similarity are you seeking in others' bodies? And is that what your body knows, or is that trying to match somebody else's body reality? So these are big questions, and I feel like I really, really love you, Andrew, and the way this energy that you'll be with this stuff. You're so cool because you guys, if you know Andrew, you know Andrew. But if you don't know Andrew, he's like, I'm going to call him autistic, which could be considered an insult in a lot of the world. But Andrew, you're so not going into the head about the body conversation that it has to go into these other pathways of energy that I think
Yeah.
very few people really know how to acknowledge or understand.
Well, yeah. And I think it's funny because a lot of people see me facilitate now, but they think I was just always like this. But no, like this is something I like slug through each day and have been. I mean, like I looked at back over my life because I was just acknowledging things. I was like, how the hell did I get here? Because people are like, well, but you have this. And I was like, yes. And I worked my ass off to get it. And I still use the tools every day to keep going forward with it. Because but I since I was a kid, I was always with my body. It was like 16, 17 years of wrestling and just like competing, and the awareness that creates when you're asking things of your body and doing things that you might not be the most generative for it, and just like the body issues that everyone else has, and you being let's just say highly aware. There's just a lot of, I think for me, it was like the reason I do this and I keep going with it is I don't really have a choice in another way. It's either this or insanity for me. And I don't insanity and misery is never somewhere where I will sit.
Yeah.
I just it's just not me. I'm like, okay, we're going this way. And there's the wall and here's my head and let's go.
So we would love to see the world with a really different possibility.
Well, and I think that's so much of when we talk about knowing what the body knows, it's like letting it lead you on this this adventure in a way. Yeah, and I have this. I was looking at quotes from Gary about receiving. And there's this one that I've been I just have it on my desktop and I keep reading it. And it's true receiving is allowing your body to create other choices and other possibilities. And I'm like, oh, wow, there's so much to that. And I've just been reading it and being with it for, I don't know, a couple months now. And I keep losing it on my desktop somehow. And then it keeps showing back up every I forget it's there, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I thought this note got deleted. I couldn't find it last week, and then it pops up again. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, my body receiving created me choosing to sit in business class and first class on airplanes. That's for sure. That wasn't me that chose that, because I would have been like, I don't want to spend the money. But my body was like, I need this. I'm creating this. We're sitting up here. I was like, okay. But I'm not comfortable with this. And my body's like, I need to receive this, please.
Yeah, that's so interesting. because I've been doing like some articles and things for promotion, and one of the things it was for Right Royce, but one of the things we talk about is like the uncomfortableness with the choice. And it's so interesting to me because I've been like, everything I write about is just like part of it, like at least for me, goes into the body conversation. Even if I'm not having it out loud, I'm like, oh, this is good. I like look at it and I'm like, it's so interesting, there's like this comfort of the body, and then that has nothing to do with like the comfort or like the uncomfortableness or discomfort we have with stepping out and making a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
You're you're like, body's like business class, first class. It's comfortable. It's nice. It's nurturing.
And my mind's like, but I can think of a million reasons for why we shouldn't choose this, can't choose this, won't choose this. And my body was like literally, I went against my knowing and went against my body's knowing about business class and first class, probably for like 3 or 4 months. And it got to the point where when I would sit in economy, like I would like be in hives when I'd get off the plane. I'd be like in so much pain that I like couldn't, like literally the thought of getting on another plane and sitting in economy was like dying. And so it was like through that my body was like, listen, we're sitting up at the front. And then, but the thing is, my mind was like, how can we afford it? But when I finally submitted to what my body knew, the money showed up.
Weird, right?
And it's continued to work and it's continued to work and it's continued to work. And I love that. I'd love to have another conversation about the body receiving and what it creates when it receives. So cool.
Yeah. I don't know what the time is and everything.
We're done. We're done.
Okay.
We love all of you out there for finding us and listening to this weird, wacky stuff, and to just have you, I speak for the organism of Access, and wherever you are listening to this, whenever you're listening to this, we are many facilitators strong, and the Access bodywork will transform each and every one of your lives and bodies in amazing, unpredictable ways. So find us, find the Access bodywork, no matter who's facilitating it. And we look forward to playing with you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.